So welcome to CKCS's All Things Apple SIG. We have 3 presentations tonight. And so at this point in our presentation, I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing this screen. And then I'm going to start with AirDrop, and then we'll move to Phil to talk about the calendar, and then Ben will be doing the Apple Watch. Okay, so I'm going to actually show you AirDrop on the iPhone. But if you have an iPad, it's the same process. So you'll be able to follow along. I will be doing this rather slowly so that you can follow. All right, so we're talking about AirDrop, and AirDrop is just really a neat way that if you have an Apple product that you can share photos and files with another Apple device. You might be in a restaurant and you've taken a picture of the group, and somebody else in that group wants that, or a couple people want that. You can easily AirDrop that picture to them. There's a couple of things you have to keep in mind is, one, you have to be in the same location, about a 30-foot distance. Okay, so you have to be next to the person to AirDrop it to them. And then it has to be an Apple product. So those people that have Androids and they want you to AirDrop it to them, you have to say, sorry, you don't have an iPhone. So we can't AirDrop it to you. And you'll have to text it or email it to them. But if you have a person or people that have an iPhone or an iPad, you can easily AirDrop it to them. And it really comes in handy, and it's so easy to do. But the first thing you have to do is that you have to turn it on or set it up so that the people can receive it. And to do that, if you have a newer iPhone, okay, that doesn't have a home button, you will take your finger up here and you will drag down. And then that brings up your control center. If you have an iPhone or an iPad that's old and that doesn't work, then your control center might be at the bottom, and you have to drag your finger from the bottom and drag it up to get the control center. Okay. And then once you're in the control center, you'll have this panel right here. Okay. And that's your network connection panel. And you'll do just a kind of a long press on there, and it opens up that panel. All right. And in that panel, one of the items is AirDrop. And if you will then do a long press on that, you have the options. Okay. Your options are, you can turn it off. That way, nobody can send you an AirDrop. Nobody can send you a picture or a file. All right. But the default is contacts only. So notice that mine is with the check mark there. That means contacts in my phone, contacts in my Apple device. All right. So I can receive and I can send to contacts. All right. But let's say you're in a group and they're really not your friends, but you're with them and they want a picture or something, you want to get it to them, you can then check this one, everyone for 10 minutes. So you can check that, they can check that, and that way you can AirDrop to each other. All right. And then after 10 minutes, it defaults back onto contacts only. All right. So you have to do that first, unless it's, a family member or a friend that's in your contacts, and then, it will go to them as long as they have their AirDrop on. You know, if they have receiving off, then you can't airdrop it. Okay? So that's how you turn on your airdrop. All right.
Brookie, what do you call this screen that we're working on now?
This screen that you see right here,
Yeah.
um, this is that is the network panel. Let me go out of that. Okay.
Okay.
This is
All right.
control center.
Yes.
It's a
So
control center. Okay.
yeah, I'm going to do it one at a time here. This is my home page. I drag down from the right top, and when I drag down from the right top, that is my control center.
Okay.
Okay. In the control center, you have this panel right here. See it?
Yeah.
Okay, that's your network panel.
Okay.
That's where you have to do a long push, and this comes up with the screen that the airdrop is on. And then you press on airdrop, and then you have your receiving off, contacts only, and everyone for 10 minutes. We will have the handouts in chat.
It's in chat.
Okay, it's in chat already. I sent out an email to a group. Many of you would receive that email, and there is a link to all of the handouts. So if you will go to that email, you can click on that link and it will take you to all of our handouts. If for some reason you aren't receiving my email, you can go into chat while we're here and send me a message, a direct message in chat, and give me your email, and I'll make sure you get that email with the link to our handouts. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Okay. All right. So now we've turned on AirDrop. I'm going to go back to my home page, and I'm going to go get a photo to show you how to send a photo using AirDrop. Okay. So I'm going to open my photos, and you see my library. Okay. You just go to whatever photo you really want to send. Okay. And I have to do this a little bit differently. I will walk you through the way that you will do it. It won't look quite the same on the screen because with me mirroring, some things don't show up. So I have to do it a little bit different. But I'm going to pick this photo down here. Okay. And to show the controls, I have to do it this way. All right. And if you'll notice, if you can see here, it's very small. See this icon right here?
Yeah.
All right. So when you've picked a picture that you want to share, you will press the share button. Okay. And when you press the share button, then you will get these options of a way to share that photo. Okay. So you press the share button, and then this information shows up. So you'll notice that AirDrop is one of your options. You could message it, you could email it, but we're talking about AirDrop. And if there's a variety of people around that have their iPhones on and they have their AirDrop enabled, then they'll show up here too. If you'll notice, I have my iPad here next to me. It's on, it's awake, and so it's showing up here, Brookie's iPad. All right. So I could press this one, or I can just go to AirDrop. And if I tap on AirDrop, then it will show all of the devices around me that have AirDrop on. And I can choose any of those. Actually, right here at home, I only have one device that's showing up. So that's who I will be sending it to. But in class, we have about, 12 people. All their AirDrops show up, and then I can just tap all of them and they'll receive the picture. So the device comes up, you will tap it. And when you tap it, it starts saying waiting. And then once it's been received, it says sending. And the person who has received the AirDrop, they have the option of declining it or accepting it. So if they get a picture that they don't really want, they actually can decline it and it won't be put on their phone or their iPad. But if they want it, they'll accept it. And once they accept it, it goes into their photo app under libraries. Okay? So it just appears there and you have it. Okay, any questions? I think I see some kind of bewildered looks. So,
Yes.
Mhm.
Rose?
yeah. Deborah, I think you're muted.
Okay. Yes. Okay. Is there any limit to the number of pictures you can send in AirDrop? Like if you want to send 20 pictures, can you send them all at once or what?
Yes.
At one
You
time.
can't, you can send them, but what Apple does creates a link. So that when you send it to somebody, they will get a link that'll take it to the iCloud where those pictures are. They can't get into anything else except those pictures.
Okay, Joe, we're talking AirDrop.
Right.
I don't
You don't
think
think so?
AirDrop. No, I don't think AirDrop does a link. You're thinking text, I think.
Okay.
Well, maybe you're right, but
Imagine
Say you're
that.
on vacation, for example, you're on vacation. You've taken 20 pictures of England, whatever, and you want to share it with the people that are traveling with you, your friends. Can you send all 20 of them at one time?
yes. How many you can send? I'm not sure. But yes, because
Okay.
in class, we will send pictures to everybody in class, and we have 15 people in class. We send the same picture. All of their, see how this icon has shown up?
Okay.
It has Brookie's, and then it would have Deborah's, and it would have Pat Vaughn's, and then it would have Janet Cartmel, and I could click all of those, and they would all be sent by AirDrop.
Okay. Good.
So you can send multiple people. Now the question
Multiple
is,
people and multiple pictures.
yeah.
Multiple people and multiple. Thank you.
All right. Somebody else, question. Got it? All right. Joe has put the handout that he did in chat. So it has it outlined just the way I showed it to you. So you can get that and then follow that. All right. Okay, I am going to stop sharing and we're going to move it over to Phil.
Okay, thanks, Brookie. Let's see. How does this thing work now? Okay, I should be sharing my calendar screen now. Can you see it?
We can, yes.
Okay, it should be just a blank calendar for the month of January. So I've got a couple of things open right now. Just want to be sure that I'm sharing the right one.
Yeah, what you're sharing right now says Apple calendars, all your information in all your devices, sync via iCloud.
Okay, well, that's the wrong thing then. So,
Yeah, that's what I sort of thought when you said.
okay, so let's see. Where was it?
You might have to go back to share and pick a different screen. There you go.
Yep, that's what I just did. Okay, so this you should be seeing a blank calendar for the month of January right now. The only thing of note is there's a little red dot to say this is today. Now, when we use a calendar, it's usually because you want something to be reminded of an upcoming event. And just as an aside, there's a second app that Apple offers called Reminders. There's just a list of things to do. And the big difference between the reminders and the calendar events is that for a calendar, you have a start time and an end time. For a reminder, you just have a time when something has to be done by. So if you haven't done it and your due date comes up and you pass it, you're late. Your calendar information, it's got, let's say you're going to the dentist. You need to be there at a time. You might want to allow an hour and a half for it. And it also probably means you got to leave the house and go somewhere. So you might need to tie in the address information of where you're going to go to. So that's what the kind of thing we use for our calendar events. And all of the Apple devices, be it iPhone, iPad, or Macs, they all have a calendar app that comes for free. And if you use iCloud, then all three of your devices will stay in sync. So if you put an event on your Mac calendar, it will show up in your iPad and your iPhone, and vice versa. If you create an item on your phone, it synchronizes with the others. Now, when you have an event, it could be a one-time event and it could also repeat. And some things might happen daily or weekly. Like, for instance, this meeting we're on to right now, this occurs once every month. But this is the third Tuesday, which is always going to be on a different date. It's not always going to be the 20th. Next month, it could be the 21st. It could be something else. I haven't looked, but it's not going to repeat on the same.
Right.
I'm sorry. Was there a question?
I think somebody just had their microphone on. Go ahead.
Okay. No. So we've got to have a way to have events repeats that isn't just every Monday or every 25th of December, because that'd be Christmas. Like Thanksgiving is always on the fourth Thursday. So that repeats in a different way, but it's still an annual event. So we need to take a look at how we're going to take care of those. And one of the things that I want to talk about in a few minutes is how we're going to do that. But before we do, I want to also mention that you can have more than one calendar in the calendar app. So up at the top here, we've got this little icon. It looks like a calendar that you might see, and that will open up a sidebar. And you can see I've got quite a few things going on here. So for my own use, I have the checkbox there. I check it, and here's all the things that I've got going on for the next few days. And as you scroll through the months, there's quite a bit going on. I also have a family. So I've got my wife's calendar that I can turn on, and all of a sudden, lots of things pop up. Same for my son. He's got a calendar, got a check the box, and his calendar will appear or disappear. So to avoid information overload, you can check and uncheck the different calendars that you want to take a look at. So you can have a lot of information in there, and you can use this for coordinating different people and different activities. One of the things that I have going on here is we've also got the ability to publish a calendar. Like we've got here CKCS meetings. This is something where you see this little, looks like a Wi-Fi icon on its side. That means it's a calendar that I've subscribed to. So I've taken the liberty of creating a calendar on one of the CKCS computers, and it's got all of the repeating meetings that we have. And when I check this box, let me just uncheck a couple so you can see this. We've got information here on, I've got Tech Night, I've got the Windows SIG, and I've got the All Things Apple. I mentioned it's not always going to be on the 20th. Next month it'll be on the 17th, but it's always going to repeat on the third Tuesday of the month. So it'll always be on the correct day. Same for photography and same for Windows. Now, Brookie mentioned that we're going to have a workshop, and that's coming up very soon. It's on February 4th, and that is going to show you how we set all of these things up to happen. So tonight, I'm just shamelessly promoting the workshop. I'm going to show you a few of the things that we can do, but not necessarily how we do them without getting into the details. But I don't want to be a complete spoil sport. There are a couple of pages in the handouts for today's presentation that come from the workshop materials, and they have QR codes that you can scan on your phone or iPad, and it will let you subscribe to 2 different calendars. We've got the one that I'm talking about here for CKCS meetings. And when you scan the QR code, it will ask you if you want to subscribe to all of the events in it, or you can go through them and check and uncheck the ones that you're interested in. For instance, if you were interested in Tech Night and All Things Apple, then you could subscribe to those 2, but not necessarily the Windows or digital photography. It's up to you. And the second calendar that I created, I'll check the box for it. This is all of the classes that we've got coming up. So here we have an introduction to Adobe Photoshop. We've got, let me just uncheck the meetings so we don't get things confused. Here on the 4th, I mentioned we've got 3 things going on, one of which is the wrangling calendars. Let me double click on this and you'll see all the information that comes up. There's a lot of stuff in here. So there's the name of it. We've got an address. You remember I said that these items will synchronize between your devices? If you've got a GPS enabled device like an iPhone and you've got an address, it will give you directions, and that can be embedded into your calendar item. So you just tap on the address and your phone will give you your driving directions. We've got here an alert when you need to leave. So because it's going to be using GPS and driving, it'll tell you how long it's going to take you to get there to arrive on time and give you an alert when it's time to leave off. Here is the text that you'll find on the registration page for the class, and there's also a link here. So if you want to register for it, you can click on this, and hopefully the share will show you it. I've just had a web browser open up, and it's taking me to the pages where I can register for the class, or rather the workshop. In the same way as I mentioned the QR codes, I said there were 2. There's one for the classes and one for the meetings. If you scan the QR code for the classes, then you'll be given the option to subscribe to all of them. And this will add a separate calendar to your device that you can check and uncheck to read them or not. and you'll be able to see the whole schedule for all of the classes we've got coming up on your device, your phone, your iPad, your Mac. So there's a lot of capability there that I think people aren't aware of, but they can be very powerful and very useful. So they are worth knowing about. And then as a last item before we go to the before we move off to Ben's presentation, I'm going to show you what we can do in, we've got Keeneland. I think everybody in Lexington knows about Keeneland, and it will begin on a Friday. So I've actually made a mistake here. I need to clean a couple of things up. We've got Keeneland appearing on a Friday, and then it runs all the way through. Got Sunday, and then it doesn't run on Mondays and Tuesdays. So here we've got Keeneland, no Keeneland, no Keeneland, Keeneland for another 5 days, and then it doesn't appear. Now, to get that on a calendar, you might think I'd have to put Keeneland on every day individually, but you don't. All you have to do is you create an item, and this one, it says it repeats every week on Tuesdays, Sundays, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. So it leaves off Monday and Tuesday, and then it finishes on April 25th. So that's when it comes to the end. And then the following week, back to no Keeneland. The only thing related to horses is the Derby, which is going to be on the Saturday, May 2nd.
Saturday.
So that's one example of how you can set up what you might think would be a fairly complicated series of events and just turn it into one single event. So if I was to delete this item here, it will ask me if I want to delete them all, and I could take them all out with just a couple of keystrokes. I don't have to have 20-something events on my calendar, all completely separate and taking up a day each, where I'm just keeping them all separate. That's a single event, and it's got a very odd cadence to it, starting on Friday, not showing Mondays, Tuesdays, but running every other day of the week. So we'll talk about how to set those up. And then for the last thing I want to talk about, we also have a few things in here that are built in. So we've got US holidays. You can check that box. And here we've got Palm Sunday, Easter, the Orthodox Easter, April Fool's Day, Passover, Good Friday, Earth Day. These are holidays, and these are a calendar that you subscribe to. It'll show all of the different holidays throughout the year, so you don't need to enter them yourself. And again, there's a checkbox on the sidebar where you check and uncheck, and all those holidays appear and disappear. And then the last item is birthdays. If you have a contact on your device and you've got their birthday filled in, you don't necessarily have to have the year, but you can have birthdays. So I've got all of these show up, and here's one. Because I have the full day and date back to the year, it'll give you even which birthday it is. So this is my friend Chris. It's going to be her 61st birthday. Others, if I just have the day of the month, it just says birthday. If you have the full details, it will give you all of the information. So those are just a couple of things that we can do with calendars. As I mentioned, when you get to look at the handout materials on the last couple of pages, there are 2 QR codes. Try scanning them and you'll subscribe to those CKCS calendars if you wish. select the items that you're interested in, or select them all. That's up to you. And it will add them to your devices as a separate calendar that you can check and uncheck to look at. And if you don't want it anymore, just unsubscribe and it all goes away. Nothing is permanently on your device in a subscribed calendar, but it's entirely up to you how much of it you want to look at. We'll be talking about all of that and a few other things as well in the workshop, which again, February 4th, so it's coming up soon. There's a link in the calendar item, so subscribe to the classes and workshop calendar and it'll take you right there. Or alternatively, you can go to the registration page on the ckcs.org website.
Okay, thank you very much, Phil. A good presentation.
You're very welcome. Do we have any questions or shall I stop sharing?
Stop sharing. We need to move on to the next presenter.
Okay.
You're muted, Brookie. You're muted.
I kept yelling, but nothing was happening.
Anyway,
Arlie has a question. Arlie has a question in chat. Janet. Okay, I can read it. It's how are you able to see your wife's calendar?
Because she tells me to. No, that's not a obvious answer. There are a couple of ways. I know her password, so I can log in, and that gives me a different level of access. So it's as if I was logging in. I'm overlaying her calendar on top of mine. She has a separate iCloud account with a separate username, and she's given me authorization to log in and look at her calendar information. So that's a little bit different from what I was talking about subscribing to calendars, because I also have write access. So if there's something going on that I want to put in her calendar, I can also do that.
Okay, a couple of things about the calendar. It's a great tool. I share it with somebody. They can put information in their phone. It'll show up on my phone and my computer. Great tool to work on things. So if you're interested in this class, sign up before it gets full. And the other thing I wanted to mention about AirDrop, I just checked it out with Copilot. It says you can easily send 200 to 300 pictures at a time. If it gets too many, there's some issues that you may heat up, and if you send too many to someone that doesn't have enough storage space for them, then they can't work it properly. So 200 or 300 pictures should be easy. Back to you, Brookie.
Okay. Well, if you've been watching in chat, Ben has been trying to get his audio to work. And so at this point in time, we're going to see if Ben can get his audio working. If not, then he'll have to do his presentation next month.
You want me to talk about calendars some more?
Yes, we can do calendars. So
well, I've tried to unmute Ben from my screen, and I send him a message to unmute. Down at the bottom of your screen,
he hasn't unmuted.
Okay, talk, Ben.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, we'll have to work on that another time.